The government's not worried about all the teenage yobbos drunk out their heads in the town squares at 3 a.m, throwing up in letterboxes. No, because they know they're pissed. It's me and my wife sat on the sofa with a gin and tonic watching Killing Eve on catch-up. We're the problem.
Ben, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
In Scotland, one of your favourite places, you're a big fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I know Scotland very well and have been many, many times. Sophie and I, my wife, are here at the festival, and in fact, although we met in 1986 when I was on tour in Australia with the late, great Rick Mail, who of course we miss so much, but in fact, when her band came and played Edinburgh in 87, that was when we kind of really, got together. I love it. Non-professionally.
Your spiritual home, shall I call it.
Yeah.
And you're coming back, so you've got the stand-up tour, so many dates, and it's called Authentic Stupidity.
It is indeed, yes.
Tell me more about that title.
Well, I gave it that title because when I was first working on the routine, about a year ago, when I was really thinking, right, this is it, I need a whole new show. Last one was 5 years ago. It's got to be new and original. What's going on? And of course, the big thing everyone was talking about was AI, artificial intelligence. Indeed, you had that appalling, Musk talking to Rishi Sunak, and they were going, oh, so it might be the end of humanity. And he was going, oh yeah, absolutely. There's a possibility that it will render humanity redundant, and of course, the inevitable social upheaval will, be the end of us. I'm thinking, they're just talking about it as if it's just something like, oh, okay, well, maybe that'll happen. AI is pretty terrifying, but the real thing that will do for us in the end is stupidity, our own. The authentic stupidity. As a comic, I've been exploring it all my life, but sometimes it's terrifying. We invent the car, that's great, freedom of movement, but we're too stupid to invest in cheap public transport. So cars are stuck in traffic jams and we're all choking on the fumes. Basically, humanity is ingenious, but also deeply stupid.
Yeah.
Naked Attraction. Have you seen? But I don't know why they've got to put it on the telly. Why has it got to be on the droopy knobs and stretch marks? We can get all that at home. We've only got to lift the duvet if we want to see that.
Let's talk about Young Ones and Blackadder. How nice is it to have those shows where people still, to this day, absolutely adore them?
You can't really get away from Blackadder. For a start, people are often quoting it back at you. I was going home for a bit of rat surprise or something. And I can't remember. It's 40 years since Richard and I wrote those lines. I occasionally catch Blackadders on planes. I'll be sort of reading a book or something, and I'll suddenly see like 40 Rowans and Baldricks on the back of everyone's, on the screens on the back of the seat rest. Oh, blimey, keep me head
Is that
down.
weird?
Yeah, a little bit. Language is my love. I love to play with words and find the funny in language. And, the Young Ones language, which kind of became part of the... Smash Hits was written in Young Ones speak.
Yeah.
And of course, Blackadder, all the tropes, you're as small as a very small thing. I'm not Winston Churchill, but I have put some rhythms into English, into the language.
Can we talk about the musicals? First of all, how did musicals come into your life? Were you always a fan?
I love musical theatre. I first played the Artful Dodger in Dram in Oliver when I was 13. With the Godalming Theatre Group. The Surrey Advertiser were kind enough to say I showed great promise for the future.
They knew a thing or two.
One of the last good reviews I ever got. When I got the opportunity with Andrew and with Queen, goodness gracious, Queen say, do you want to think about a theatrical context for our songbook? This songbook is one of the great works of art of the 20th century. Stand-up was the accident.
Yeah.
People were saying,
was it?
what's a stand-up doing writing musicals? I did a degree in drama. I went to Manchester. That's where I met Rick Mail and Aid Edmondson. Yeah. I love theatre. I wanted to be a playwright. I wanted to write TV comedy. I was a Morecambe and Wise tragic. I used to send in sketches when I was 12, 13 years old. Obviously, none of them were done, but I did. And I had the opportunity to say to Ernie, you could have had my material, mate, when I was a teenager, and we had a good laugh. He said he could live without it. I'm interested in being listened to. Yeah. That's why I'm back on the road, and my material is what matters.
Well, when did you first realise then that you could do it?
The day I did it. It was February 1981. I was broke. I was on the dole. I was in London. Rick and Aid were already at this place called this weird little tiny club in a strip club called the Comic Strip. And Rick and Aid and Alexi Stowe and Jenny and Dawn. I'm seeing Dawn tonight. So we're all friends in Edinburgh.
You've got the best friends.
Yeah, they gave me comfort and succour when I first did my first gig at the Comic Strip. It was boys' dressing room was full of all these alpha males led by Alexi Sale, and I ended up in Jenny and Dawn's little cupboard. I was in the girls' dressing room, so that was the first time I ever met them on a night.
Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders.
Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders. And so I was getting nowhere doing what I wanted to do, which was be a playwright, be a TV writer, and I needed to earn a living and another way to show my wares. So I wrote myself a stand-up act and got up and did it. It was terrifying, but that decision, obviously, a fork in the road that absolutely changed my life, because many people see me first and foremost as a stand-up.
Yeah.
But I am first and foremost a writer. I'm there to deliver what I've got to say, what I find crazy about the world, and, you know, find the funny, which God knows we need.
We've got the change. We've got the change going on in our house. Why do you think I came on tour, ladies and gentlemen?
Do you have a favourite thing that you do?
My favourite thing is not working. And people often over the years, oh, you're obviously a workaholic. I'm definitely not a workaholic. I didn't tour for 15 years, even though I love stand-up, because I wanted to be around my kids. I like to cook a big Sunday lunch. That's my favourite thing. You know, I would slam the door on the spuds, that's the first bottle, you know. If you're talking about my ongoing compulsion to express myself, which is clearly something that's in my DNA, it's all about the writing. But the best way to be a writer for me is as a stand-up, because that's the sharp end. That's where you connect. It's your job to connect with the imaginations. There's 1,000 or 1,200 individuals in the audience, and their laughter is the other side of a two-way conversation. Yeah, to me, it's beyond invigorating, and I guess, you know, my favourite thing is to get out there and entertain people who want to hear what I have to say.